Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Attorney Podcast. I'm your host, Marie Eve. As you know, we at the Daily Attorney Podcast, we talk to women all over the United States who are amazing at what they do inside and outside of the legal profession. Our guest today is Miss Nikita Lamar, who I'm super excited about. She is the owner and managing attorney of Lamar Legal Group, PLLC. She focuses on the areas of family law, divorce, estate administration, estate planning, and trademark copyright registration. The firm assists clients navigating events such as life events, such as divorce, child custody matters, and the loss of a loved one. The firm focuses on high net worth individuals, business owners, and those who are members of the LGBTQIA plus community. She is a trained mediator. She specializes in divorce and family law mediation and is trained in collaborative law. She dedicates a good portion of her practice to focusing on a different path to divorce. Most recently, she co founded Divorce Retreat, where couples commit to settling divorce matters in one weekend. She is fierce and hardworking, and yet she finds time to maintain a work life balance to provide her clients with the best possible service and outcome. Nikita, thank you so much for joining me today. I know we were originally scheduled for March 22nd, but you were in court.
I was in court. And docket call lasted longer, but we both know that that's a part of the job. That's what happens. But I'm super excited to be here. I'm
Yes, yes.
very excited that we got the opportunity to do this.
Same here. Well, thank you for showing up. And I really want to talk to you. I know that we waited so long to do this. First off, we were on a brief hiatus. There's
Yeah.
so much going on over here. I'm implementing, a few different things. And I really, really wanted to kind of take some time away from the podcast just to, start the process and just have some time to think. Right.
Right.
So, one of the things I really want to talk to you about, of course, is how you got to creating an actual divorce retreat. I don't know anyone who is doing that, right? It's amazing. But first, can you talk to us about just your journey to law and how did you get here?
Sure. So my journey to law started as early as, I don't know, about sixth or seventh grade. I participated in a both a youth judicial and a youth legislature program. It was through our guidance counselor. And I really enjoyed preparation of a case. I don't remember what type of case it was. It's been so long ago, but we essentially had to develop a case for both sides because we didn't know who we were going to be representing once we were in the competition. We were late, but we still placed. And it was just a great opportunity. On the other side, the legislature, it was okay. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the same feeling I got as when we were all huddled in the guidance counselor's office trying to figure out this case, pick it apart. It really resonated with me. And to be honest, it's something that has been spoken over my life, believe it or not, before then. My grandparents told me that I was going to be an attorney when I was a toddler in their florist shop that they owned my entire adult life. They told me what I was going to do. And I think that it came from somewhere else, but it came through them. And so it just stuck with me. And I graduated. I went to law school. And actually, my first time in law school, I had to drop out because my grandparents got sick. And I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And I went back to law school in my 30s, my early 30s. And that was after I had a 10-year career in nonprofit. And I decided to just resign and go back to school full time. And that's what I did. And that was essentially my journey to law.
Wow, that is definitely a journey. So I love how your grandparents, they supported you since day one, right?
Yeah.
And clearly they were right. So that's awesome. Now, how did you get to because you kind of have a very broad area that you service, right? You're in family, you're also in trademark and copyright, in my opinion. Those are very different areas. Which one do you have a preference? Which one do you like better? And how did you even make the decision to add those specific areas of law into your practice?
So I'll start with family. Family was something that's very close to my heart. I don't know what the saying is completely, but people say that when you have maybe trauma in some areas, or you have, situations in your life early on where you've had a lack or something like that, sometimes you end up going into that area as a way to heal yourself. I think that's what happened with me and with family law. To be honest, my parents were divorced very early. It was kind of like a shotgun wedding thing, and it didn't last. And then I was a ward of the court. Essentially, my grandparents took care of me, raised me, from a young age to all the way till they passed away when I was in my 30s. Um, so these areas, grandparents' rights, divorce, child custody matters, all of those are things that I understand. I understand from a very personal space. I don't harbor any ill feelings either way. I just have a different understanding. So it helps me when I'm speaking to my clients, when I'm talking to them about children, because I was a child and I understand how all that stuff feels. So that's essentially, I think, why I ended up in family law, and I've been practicing family law since I started practicing. Estate planning, that kind of goes hand in hand. People think that it's totally different, but those are familial relationships. Those are familial problems. The difference is someone, unfortunately, has passed away, but that still triggers those family emotions, and us trying to come in as attorneys and say, hey, can we meet in the middle? Do you want to spend all this, all these types of things. But both my grandparents passed away without estate plans as well. So and I went into extreme debt because of that, and had a lot to take care of, and I had to go through the probate process, understanding of, that heirships are taken care of by the state. And so all of those things were things that I had actually gone into even before my grandparents passed away. We had dealt with some issues like that with their parents and things like that. So, those two coincide. Seemingly, trademark is a outlier, but not really, because the people that I serve, they are entrepreneurs, they're business owners, they're people who have other things that they need attention to. I'm an entrepreneur, not only in law. So having that understanding and that background, I had people to ask me, about those things. And I also was looking for another area to add where I would not be tethered to a court. That's why I'm changing the structure of my family law practice. And so it was a decision that I made, but I made it thinking about it. And also, I can serve individuals from any state as well, because that, trademarking is federal issue. So that was another reason why I decided to add that practice. But the number one reason is that I thrive when I'm around people who are wanting to or working in their purpose. I love it. I absolutely love it, no matter what it is. And I enjoy helping people flesh out their ideas. I enjoy helping them even think about names if they come to me with something and I run a search and I say, I don't know about this and this is why. Well, let's brainstorm and see what else we may be able to come up with. It's service. It's still service. It's just a different type of service, but one that I'm also familiar with. My grandparents were entrepreneurs their almost entire adult lives. And so that's also something that I know a lot about. It's something I thought I was going to be able to escape, but no, I was not. I don't know why I thought that. I have no idea why I thought that I was going to be able to go in and, just work for someone the rest of my life. It's nothing wrong with that. It's something that I may actually do again, but I know it absolutely has to be something that looks a lot different from what we were, looking at prior to me becoming an entrepreneur. But I say all that to say that all of these areas are areas that are very personal, close to me, not so close that I'm not able to, be objective, but I understand. I understand how entrepreneurs can forget about trademarking. They can forget about setting up an entity because they're working in their passion. So let me do that. And then I also get the opportunity to see you grow. That's, I mean, what else can you want, you know?
Well, I completely hear that. And I have 3 points I definitely wrote down. So the first one, I love that you said that you don't want to be tethered to a court. Sometimes
Correct.
as litigators working in the family atmosphere,
Mhm.
that happens, right? You
Mhm.
might have a hearing like March 22nd. You're thinking
Yeah.
to yourself, it's a 15-minute hearing, not that big of a deal. And you end up being in court all day. Same thing
Yeah.
happened to me yesterday,
Mhm.
and your entire calendar for the day kind of just goes by the wayside and you have to fix everything.
Of
So
course.
I understand that. How did you fix the issue of not being, I don't want to say a slave to the court, but just not tethered to a court calendar and having to, constantly be on the go?
It is a mindset change, and it's something that I'm still working on, to be honest with you. Um, since I entered into this profession, there's been so many ideas that have been thrown at me, so many things that I should do, that I'm supposed to do, that as an attorney you have to do. And being new to a profession, you don't know, if you especially if you don't have anyone in your immediate corner right then to tell you, well, no, you could do it the way that you want to do it. You can structure it the way that you want. Think about how you want to live your life. But what I found is, in this profession, and it's changing, but still in this profession, for the most part, there's a way in which an attorney's day is supposed to go, according to everybody else, including some attorneys. And my thing is, if that's the way that you want your day to go, that's certainly fine, because we do need people who are tethered to the court because there's business to be done there. But I knew that I didn't, because there's so many other things that I want to do. There's so many other avenues that I want to explore. And I don't have currently an associate. I have two contract attorneys, but so I saying that, at the time I didn't have any, and so it was just me. And being in the courts, you can't work on the other parts of your business, or you can't do it as much as you'd like. And so and I like to travel. Hence,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
in.
a yeah, and I do too. I'm actually going on a small mini vacation in May. I had to. I was like, you know what? I need a break.
Yes.
But I love that you say that you don't get to work on your business as much when you're in court. And
No.
it took me, believe it or not, it took me some time to realize that because,
Mhm.
especially going through business coaching, I was like, how am I supposed to implement everything that, Allison is telling me to do
Mhm.
and run my practice at the same damn time
Yeah.
and take care of my kid and take a shower
And eat
and eat,
and go to
put
the
on makeup,
store.
do
Yeah.
my hair, grocery
Go to
shop,
the doctor.
clean my house. I was like, this is not gonna, something is going to suffer.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what happened. I kind of put myself to the side, took care of everybody else,
Mhm.
but then now I'm kind of feeling the consequences of that, right? So now I'm restructuring, reorganizing. I have a legal assistant. There's some things that we're putting into place, and I'll announce that later. I don't want to put a lot of stuff out there, and next thing you know, people will hold my feet to the fire, and I'm like, well, but I say all that to say I completely understand, and I'm happy that you've made that shift early on. I wish I made it in my first year of practice.
Mhm.
I had no idea, what to do. I kind of thought, like you said, traditional lawyer. You open up your office,
Mhm.
you network your ass off, and
Right.
hope that the clients come your way.
Right.
In 2023, it's not working that way
Mhm.
anymore. I'm not saying it doesn't work,
Right.
but you essentially have to be big woman or big man on campus. And when you're trying to run a business and you're trying to build a business and you're an attorney, you can't be big man or big woman on campus and grow your firm at the same time. It is impossible unless you bring in people who's doing that for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a retreat, not a retreat, but I went to a conference um, some time ago. And one of the things that the presenter talked about was, making sure you have the right people in place. But before you do that, you have to organize your practice. You
Mhm.
can't organize your practice if you don't have time.
Yes.
So there are a lot of things that I've learned along the way, and some days I really wish I could do it all over, but at the same time I'm like, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know, because you live and you learn, right?
you
But
do. You
you
do.
really, really do. With that said, with estate planning, do you find that you are able to really help your clients in a very different, more personal way, knowing that you've been through the process yourself?
Yeah, I do believe that, especially when there's familiar conflict, and being able to explain how conflict equals money. Conflict equals billable hours. Now, it's some conflict that we just can't get around. There's some things that a court is required. We have to go before a judge or a jury. But what a lot of people don't understand is that you have all these other avenues that you could utilize before you get to that point. You could utilize arbitration, you could utilize mediation, you could utilize your attorneys doing the same thing, but maybe not a formal mediation. There's so many different ways that you can settle matters, handle cases that people don't really talk about. And I think it's because the billable hour has always been the drive. We have some people that do flat fees. And I mean, even if you say flat fees, you're still paying for work. You just tell them based on your long you've been running your practice and practicing in that area, about how many hours it's going to take to wrap up a matter. And you just take that times whatever your hourly rate is. Some people may tack something on to that. And then, you say, okay, well, this is what you're going to have to pay me as a flat fee. All of that, there's room for people to be able to come in and determine how they want these things to go or have more of a say. People always say attorneys tell us what to do and they make all these decisions for us and all. Well, here you go. Here's your opportunity, babes. What you want to do? And usually when they're presented, it's like, oh, well, I don't know. Okay, then. Well, either you let me handle it, the regular way, which is litigation, is going to cost you a lot more, or we can utilize these alternative measures and see if it pans out. But having the insight and understanding and being able to share with someone how much money I had to spend, and I was a student, I didn't have it, but so I do think so. I think that it's not necessary. You don't necessarily have to have gone through these things in these different areas to be good at what you do, but I think it gives you a different perspective.
I definitely think so too. I do the same thing with my clients. One of the things that we'll talk about it backstage. I was thinking about implementing something into my practice that I really think would be very, very beneficial. And I've heard one attorney talk about it on the Neil Tyra podcast. This was probably 2 years ago. So, but we'll definitely talk about it. Now, as far as you stated earlier, working with individuals who are working in their purpose, I think it's a very different type of energy, and I don't want to spend too much time on it because I had so many things that I wanted to talk to you about, but I know we're limited on time. And you already know how we do when we get to talking.
Yes.
So I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to touch on these other things. But working in purpose, I just wanted to touch on that because it really, really is important. When you are doing what you love, you don't, the concept of time is not something you care about, right? Cost, you don't care about it. Hurdles, it just is. So I hear you when you said that, and I actually felt it because what we do is what we love. This is who we are. This is what in my mind we're born to do, right? So I just wanted to touch on that. The next thing that I really, really wanted to discuss with you is the retreat, because that is a big deal. And congratulations, by the
Thank
way.
you.
I know we talked about it sometime into last year, into January-ish. So I really, really want to just hear you talk about the process, what brought this on, and your experience with it so far.
So, some years ago, I saw something. It was an expose or something about a European country, and I can't remember like where it was, but they had something similar, but it was at a hotel setting, and that was the main purpose of that building. But they also utilized it for people who just wanted to stay in the area as well. And I thought to myself, I was like, wow, that is really cool. You check in and then you check out divorce, essentially. I mean, of course, you know that there's things that you have to do. Sometimes you have waiting periods, like in Texas, there's a 60-day waiting period, but you can hammer out everything, get everything in an MSA, turn it into a final order, and you're just waiting, if you need to. And I thought it was such a good idea. And it was before I became an attorney. I believe I was in law school. And it just sat in the back of my mind. And I reached out to last year, I reached out to a colleague of mine who went to school with me. Her name is Leslie Turnage. She's another member of Divorce Retreat. And I reached out to her because I wanted to ask her about writing for bar journals. I wanted to, and I still do. I'm interested in writing my first article. She's been doing it forever, so that's why I reached out to her. We said we were going to meet. We met. We talked about everything else except for the bar journals. At the end of the conversation, we talked about the journals, but in that, we were talking about what I do, what she does. She handles collaborative divorces. It was an area that I wanted to get into. And so by the end of that, we had a business plan. That's really the long and short of it. It just happened just like that.
Wow.
And
Wow.
she had been talking to, can you hear echo?
No.
No,
Okay.
okay, good. So she has a colleague who is our other participant, our other owner, is Deborah Lawson, who had been talking to her about the exact same thing. And Deborah had already done the groundwork for this thing. She already had a website for it. It's just she had gotten so busy that she just didn't do it. And the person that she was going to do it with, they were no longer interested because of family and all that kind of stuff. So it was just one of those things. We wanted to do it. We got together and we did it. And so we officially launched about a month ago. Officially. I mean, I've been talking about it and posting a little bit. And it's been good. It's newer. So because of that, it's not an influx of new clients yet. But right now, what we're doing is working on getting the word out. So we're going, on different podcasts, talking about it, speaking, at different places. So wherever we can talk about it. And we have been getting inquiries, and people have been wanting to set up appointments to talk to us about how it would work. And, it's not for everyone because, these people have to be able to have a conversation with the person that they are now wanting to divorce. And we understand that that's not always the case. But that's why I like collaborative approaches and things like that, because you can actually pull a team together. And if you need a mental health professional to come in, they can come in. And people think that that's odd, but I don't understand why. Divorce is emotional.
Yes.
It has a toll. It can have a toll on your mental health.
Yep.
And the thing is when people are going through divorces, everybody wants to be a stonewall. And they want a stonewall for an attorney. And I get it. It's just the way in which divorce has been always presented to us. It has been adversarial. It's always been adversarial for the most part. I mean, unless people come to you and say, no, we want to be amicable. We've talked about it. It's not that many, but it's some. I've served them. But for the most part, what even the legal community teaches is that everything has to be adversarial. You got to get a one-up on the other person. And, I understand strategies. I've used them myself. But I just believe that there are different strategies for different couples because there are different strategies for different people. Everything doesn't work for everybody. And we can say that about everything else, except when it comes to things that involve emotions and money. And so that's essentially where we were. We all felt the same way. We all take contested cases still. I am much more selective about my contested cases because, like I said, I am choosing how tethered I am to these courts as much as I can. I mean, sometimes things happen, and that's why I have my contract attorneys in Houston if I need to, go to a hearing and it's an emergency. Things can happen, but also I understand myself. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I live in another country. I live in
Yes, I was literally just gonna bring that up.
yeah,
So you
and
are
that
in
was another reason.
Mexico.
That was another reason too that I decided to make this move is because I knew I was shifting my firm and I was doing it because personally I wanted to be more fulfilled. We don't talk about that enough either. We talk about, what it is that we do for other people. We are people of service. Attorneys are, and no matter what you're doing, you're still of service, whether it's an entity or a person or people, we're still people who are of service. And I am very much that way, but I also want to be a better service to myself. And I was not. My contested caseload was super high. That was most of them. Um, I also served clients who divorced amicably as well, but I didn't really put it out there as much. Sometimes we're concerned about what other people in our different sections or areas of law or professions are going to think. And, are they going to think I can't handle court? Or no, it's not that. It's just I don't want to do that all the time. And also, the most important change that I made was my client avatar. I
Yes.
changed my client avatar. I
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
and it had more to do with mindset than it did with money.
Yeah.
Because just because someone can pay you,
Yeah.
your 10,000 or whatever you're charging, it doesn't mean that that's a fit for you and
Mhm.
your and the culture of your firm. I started thinking about what is the culture of my firm, because we don't think about that sometimes when we get started. We just think we want to be successful, and successful usually we equate it to money and clients, and we do need it. I want it, but also I want to be more fulfilled. I don't want to be mad all the time. I don't want to be, the person who's handling these cases and thinking that this is my life. It is not. I'm helping you with your life. I have my life.
And
And
that's all, and that's literally all that you are doing. I love that you talk about fulfillment, because once again, it was one of those things that I thought that, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong or tell me if you share this, but
yeah.
I really thought that sacrificing myself and everything was fulfillment,
Mhm.
until I realized that essentially happiness is important.
Mhm.
And that comes with being able to do the things that you love, right?
Mhm.
And it's not about striking that balance, because there is no balance. It's doing the things that you love. My practice is something that I love. Being
Mhm.
a business owner, something that I love. But I
Mhm.
also love to travel and hang out with my family and do things with, my partner, whatever it is, right? But you have to figure out how to make time for all of that. So, how is living in Mexico, and how does it fit with you being able to take care of yourself and, essentially doing the things that you love, but also still building and continuing to grow a practice that you love?
You know what? It has been an interesting endeavor, one that I do not regret at all. I'm learning a lot about myself. I'm learning a lot about my practice, how I want my practice to transition, what I want it to look like, um, and I wouldn't trade it. It requires you to be more attentive to your schedule. It also requires you to really interview people and really look at your client avatar and see, does it fit? And I have had to turn down cases, and I'm totally fine with that, because to me at this point, what's more important is fulfillment, happiness, and helping my clients. I can absolutely do that here. You don't hear that. People don't tell you that because we thrive on butts and seats. I wanted to say something else, but I don't want to. I don't because I'm a potty mouth. We're doing real good because I'm a potty mouth. I was like, we're doing wonderfully
It
because
is totally fine. It's totally
yeah,
fine. No big deal.
we do. We asses and seats. That's what we
Yes, yes,
clients in your
yes,
office, clients,
yes.
and I get it.
And but frankly, I don't. I had a client reach out and she was like, "Hey, let me know next time when we can meet." I was like, "I will schedule a phone meeting." I
Mhm,
really don't. I've learned that I personally am more productive
mhm,
when I sit my butt down one place, I do my work, and then when I'm done and I leave. But
mhm,
I find that I don't really like the getting up to meet with clients and having to do this and do that.
mhm.
I find that we are more productive when we're not worried about the traffic. And, are we okay? Do I have on the right outfit today? Clients don't care about that.
Right.
They care about what's up here and what's
Mhm.
here. That's
Yeah.
all they care about.
Yeah.
And I can effectively deliver that without having to worry about all this insanity, going on. So, but with that said, thank you so much for being here today.
Of
So,
course.
in the event people want to learn a little bit more about, your firm and what you
Mhm.
do you have a website that we can share?
I do. My website is www.lamarlegalgroup.com. That's the name of
That's the one
my
right there at the
Yep,
bottom.
that is it. Yep, that
Okay.
is it. And I'm on the socials. I don't do, as much as I probably should on the socials,
You and
but
me both.
I'm on Facebook. Facebook is Lamar Legal Group. You could just look that up and put Lamar Legal Group PLLC, and it comes up. I have a page on there, and I'm also on IG. IG is a little different. It is your rebel attorney. I'm sorry, your rebel JD.
JD. That's also
Um,
your TikTok, which I'm going to put
yeah,
down.
that's also the TikTok.
Yep. So if anybody want to learn more about you, they can check you out on
Mhm.
TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
And Nikita, thank you so much for being here today. I know we've talked about this for a while. It took
Yeah.
us some time to get you out of court, get
Yeah.
my schedule tamed a little bit for us to
Mhm.
make this happen. But I'm so happy that we made it happen. I'm super excited about being on your podcast so we can talk
Yeah.
about estates and
Yeah.
family and all
Yeah.
the stuff in between, and
Yes.
how things happen when they collide, and
Yeah.
essentially what to do, right?
Yeah.
Because we're in two separate states. You're in Texas living in
Mhm.
Mexico. I'm
Mhm.
in Maryland, and I practice primarily in Maryland. So
Mhm.
I think it'll be an awesome overview of what to expect, and it'll be very general and broad, but
Yes.
I think it's something that anyone living across the country can really take a look at.
I
Um,
think so too. Yeah, I
yeah,
think so too.
yeah. Well, with that said, thank you everyone for taking the time out of your day to, check out Miss Nikita Lamar. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to St. Eve Law Firm and Lamar Legal Group. If you have any questions, feel free to go to our website, fill out our contact page. We're not currently accepting clients for the month. We might open back up in June, but if you have a question, send me an email. If I can't help you, I'll try to find someone else that can do the same. Thank you so much. Hi, Cherie. Cherie said this was a great conversation. Thank you both for sharing your wisdom and experiences. She's
Oh,
also
thank you.
attorney. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in. I am your host, Marie Eve Nadine Jean Baptiste, and our guest today was Miss Nikita Lamar. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.